Not just the 15,000 people who come into work every morning, but also the degree of economic benefit that Gibraltar gives to this area of Spain. Now, 20% of the GDP of the neighbouring region of Spain depends directly or indirectly in Gibraltar. Those are the tens of millions of pounds that Gibraltarians spend every year.
That's the campo, not just La Línea.
Well, not just La Línea, indeed. And if you look at the export figures published by Spain's own Ministry for Commerce, they show that Spain exports 1.5 billion euros a year of goods and materials to Gibraltar, and that we are the largest export market for the province of Cádiz next door, and that Cádiz sells more to Gibraltar than to the United Kingdom of France. So that gives you an idea, those are the official figures of the Spanish state, it gives you an idea of the economic interrelationship and economic dependence that exists. Now, it is not in Spain's interests to pursue a policy or a strategy which puts that in peril.
So there's a new government in Spain, or renewed government, led again by Pedro Sánchez, minority government with some very big issues completely outside of the Brexit process that it will need to deal with or attempt to deal with. What is your view of a Pedro Sánchez government as you enter this transition period, needing to sit down with Spanish officials and discuss a future relationship?
Well, first of all, let me say that we've pursued in all the time that the Partido Popular was in government, relationships with the different political parties in Spain. And some of those meetings have been advertised and public, others haven't. Spanish politicians have come to Gibraltar and it's been public and people have known about it. So we've tried to maintain a relationship and to put across our point of view at different levels. So clearly it is in Gibraltar's interest that there should be a government of the left as opposed to a government of the right in Spain, particularly when the extreme right pursues a policy, or has in the past mentioned that it is their policy, to close the border completely. So although neither left nor right are perfect in terms of what we want to hear, what there is now is better than what there could have been. Mm-hmm. And I think generally speaking people will agree to that. So we've had contact, as I mentioned, with the PSOE. We've had MPs, Salvador de Lancina, for example, and others come to Gibraltar over the years. My first contact with Podemos, that is part of the government, was in Brussels many years ago now, when we had a meeting with the international relations people. That again was interesting, and it to me it came across as if they were more interested in tax than on sovereignty, for example. So I think it was interesting, and there's also that policy of making sure that citizens and people's lives are not unnecessarily disrupted by this kind of issue. So I think that's positive as well. And then the others who have actually supported the government but are not part of it, people like the Partido Nacionalista Vasco, people like Esquerra Republicana, they have always been traditionally very supportive of Gibraltar and indeed openly supportive of our right to self-determination. So I think if you take that as a package, it doesn't mean that they're going to be in any sense weaker in their negotiations, but I think there is at least an understanding there of what our position is and where it is that we're coming from. And certainly, as I said before, it is the far better option of the two that were available.